Okay, it's Mez at Harlan Dix with Jamie Carragher. And now it's probably the more interesting business end of this. We're going to talk about the things that you hate, or at least mildly irritate you about football. Take it away.
First one would be, and this is teammates and watching football as well. When you're having one of those days where it's not going well, you're probably getting beat 3-0, 3-0, something's not going well. And out of nowhere, you've been absolutely battered. Everyone's been awful. And then somebody scores for you. And they go and get the ball in the net. And they come running out with it, sprinting. And they start pumping the fist up to the crowd. And they start banging the chest to the other players, as if they've been more committed than the rest of them. And that's why they've scored, when it's had nothing to do with it. They just scored. And really, they don't really care that they're getting beat now. They've scored. It's like, well, I've scored. I'm okay. I'll be all right. You know, I've got my goal. You know, and if you have all tried a bit harder, I might have got a few more. You know, but that one, you know, that one performing for the crowd and that whole idea of running into the net, which I think is when I think of that player, I always think of David Platt.
Oh yeah, he was like professional elite level ball grabber out of the net. I can't think of anyone better at doing it. It was the pace that he went back with. Even the way he held the ball when he was running out, and the way he ran, it was almost like he was on an advert.
I wish you could all see Jamie's shoulders moving at this point. It's,
I've got the ball here.
Presumably, it'd be even weirder if you did it for an own goal. I'd quite like to see that.
yeah. Get the ball back again. I'll score another one.
Exactly,
for you.
taking responsibility for your actions. That would be. But Charlie, like, there is an inevitable kind of consequence for players grabbing the ball out of the opponent's net, which in itself is a very peculiar thing to do. But 8 times out of 10, it leads to one of the most baffling scenes in professional football, which is the back of the net wrestling match. It still happens now, and I still can't understand. I mean, whilst I appreciate that, you know, everyone's wired and everyone's het up, and it's all, you know, we're talking about elite level mentalities here. I still just don't understand why these things happen.
Yeah, I do love that though, and I know, like Joe said, like there's this like thin line between love and hate, but there's something so stupid and pointless about the whole thing, but also really relatable because we've all been like, give me the ball, as if it's going to make any difference.
But the one you're talking about in the net, the wrestling one, is really good in that the goalkeeper keeps hold of it, and the opposition are trying to get the ball. Now, I'm a bit like your goalkeeper always ends up getting booked, always. Who knows, could get sent off for throwing a dig or doing something. And we've got the ball. It's our kick-off. So if we want to waste time, we'll decide when we kick off. So let them have the ball. They're not kicking off. They're not running to kick off.
This whole thing is
We're kicking off. Let them have the ball. Let them sprint back. We'll take our time. Don't worry about it.
But it's also the most PG rated 25-man brawl possible, because never a punch has ever been thrown in the back of the net wrestling match. It's like watching 3-year-olds fighting over a toy. It's incredible. It's the least violent brawl you're ever going to see.
I mean, honestly, there's nothing I hate worse than someone acting the tough guy on a football pitch, because no one's ever threw a punch.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're going to get sent off, well, at least hit him. You know,
Right.
You know, this head to head, and someone pushes the head into someone, and you're like, you get sent off for that. I always think what the rugby fellas think when they're watching it. And I'm not advocating that we start butting each other than that on football pitches, but getting sent off or putting your head into someone's head, I'm like, oh my God. I can imagine Martin Johnson and Delalio and all the boys years ago watching us thinking, look at these stupid bastards here. I mean, if you're going to get sent off, give him a smack.
Well, Charlie, Jamie Carragher is rolling out the football versus rugby comparisons on Football Cliches.
Good job, Cogsy, isn't
it? This is worrying.
I remember that the lowest of the low point for that, for me, was Jens Lehmann and Drogba, who are two guys who could look after themselves, probably. They were just sort of like going up to each other and trying to almost like brush one another to like, and then fall over to try and get the other sent off. It
was like a comedy sketch of someone trying to take the piss out of modern footballers.
Exactly. Yeah. It was like, a rugby player's nightmare.
No, I remember that one. It was at Stamford Bridge, wasn't it?
Yeah.
In the 6-yard box or something, yeah. What was the one with Lehmann? Did someone stand on his foot in a Tottenham Arsenal game or something like that? They were winning the league, and Tottenham scored in the last minute. He done something, didn't he? Because someone stood on his toe or something.
He shoved Robbie Keane over, and they scored an equaliser. It was the day Arsenal won the league.
If you're going to shove anybody over, presumably Robbie Keane is the best one to make his safe landing, I presume. Did he do his little roll?
Go straight into the somersault, yeah.
Okay, so we've nailed that one. We're all in good agreement about this one. So now, before we get onto your second hatred of football, if we can call it that, I feel like this is a fantastic climax to episode 100. It just feels like what Football Cliches has been building to all this time. It feels like you've reached into my brain and taken the one thing that I didn't think anybody else cared about. Tell us.
It's supporters clapping and lauding a striker because he runs to the corner flag to block the opposition centre-back playing it down the line when he's basically in a bit of trouble. And the ball then goes out for a goal kick and everybody's happy. The fans are delighted. The strikers, he thinks he's done his job. And the defenders thought, you got me out the there. We'll have a goal kick, thank you very much. I was right in the corner flag, didn't know what to do with it. And
it's
you just
unbelievable.
It's like, you see the striker, you're just thinking, let him play it down the line. He'll give it away. And you got a chance of scoring. But no, he comes running across, trying to impress the crowd again. And he does impress the crowd. He gets that big cheer, that big round of applause. And everyone's happy.
I'm telling you, there should be a whole hour of Monday Night Football dedicated to this. It's one of the.
Is there a player
scandal?
Is there a player you can think of who would do that? My first thought is Paul Dickhoff.
Yeah, he was an incredible closer downer.
Yeah, that sort of just. I could imagine Jamie Vardy doing it 10 years ago.
Yeah.
One of those
strikers that just
those
don't want to give up
strikers who we describe as nuisance. He's a nuisance.
Exactly.
Would Andy Johnson, the Everton and Palace striker, I can imagine him doing that. But also, I can imagine someone just go back to what we were talking about before, then following that up with whipping up the crowd with their arms as if they've really achieved something.
But it's got to the point now where if I'm watching my own team on TV, and certainly in a particular circumstance where they're chasing a goal, and you can kind of understand why a player would do that, why a striker would do that, want to lead from the front. But before that situation even happens, when I see that this situation is about to unfold, I am essentially shouting at the screen, don't you touch that ball. Don't you dare. And there's so much that you could do. Charlie, there is so much you could do in this situation. You could pressure them right up to the point where they kick it, so that you're making them make a rash decision. You could shape your body so that it kind of doesn't want to go anywhere that you don't want it to, but do not concede that goal kick. Goal kicks are already the crappiest part of football. Do not concede a goal kick in the worst possible moment. I'm so annoyed by this.
Yeah,
annoyed.
I know. just let them slice it off. It's the only thing worse than that thing is that thing where a defender's going nowhere and it's like, don't foul him, please don't foul him, please don't shove him over. And you shove him over. That is like, oh my God, why have you done that? Which again, you must love as a defender when someone does that. Just gives you that.
You're just waiting for that
nudge.
touch, aren't you? You're waiting for that touch. You fall on top of the ball. The referee's terrified of making a mistake, and the striker running through and score, so he gives the foul. And honestly, when I watch my team in the last couple of minutes, there's nothing worse than watching your team in the last couple of minutes. If someone does something, and something that Liverpool supporters still talk about today with Dejan Lovren, having a shot from about 40 yards in an FA Cup semi-final against Aston Villa at Wembley. When people are asked to describe Lovren's great moments, that always comes up. That is always remembered because you're just like, I can't believe... It's okay if you've done it after half an hour, not a problem. Yeah. But don't do it with 2 minutes to go, please.
I completely agree. Okay, so this got me thinking about minor frustrations in football that people are convinced they know better than elite footballers about. So things they've spotted that they just think they need ironing out in football that just the elite level coaches just haven't spotted. So let's start with this one. Harry Adams. He says, I think this one has been long talked about, but when players place the ball down for a corner so it hangs over the quadrant by a millimetre, why are you doing this? Charles Jones adds to this, placing the ball right on the very edge of a quadrant from a corner is pointless. One day VAR will disallow a goal because it was slightly out, and this ridiculous trend will end. Jamie, as a student of the game, as a scrutiniser of the minutiae of football, surely this annoys you?
It does annoy me, and it's always annoyed me that... It always felt years ago that it had to be inside. Now it almost feels like it has to touch the line. Yeah. And I'll go one further. I always feel like penalties now, the ball's never really on the spot.
Yeah.
Like it used to be. It used to be right in the middle of the spot. Now it almost feels like you can see half the spot. And the ball's on. Oh, have you already mentioned that in a different one?
No, this is absolutely right because it's a technical point. Like, I mean, there is obviously a point at which the ball stops being on the spot or the referee's not happy. But when it comes to penalty spots, Charlie, I feel like there's a spirit of the rule here. Put it in the middle of the spot. That's where it should be.
But is this whole thing? Is the quadrants depends? Is that a kind of marginal gains? Is this we're going to do anything to get like a tiny edge?
It can only be.
And
it must be a psychological thing.
No idea if it helps.
No idea.
Like,
but I mean,
no, it's a man. I mean, I always thought when it had to be inside, sometimes at certain grounds where there's not much run up, it could be really tight. And I think we have seen as the odd person kick the corner flag. I think I've seen that once or twice. So maybe there's something. I just think make the quadrant bigger.
Yeah, make it absolutely massive. Exactly right. Yeah. I think someone on a previous episode pointed out that they might as well just have a quadrant where players aren't allowed to encroach, so that no one has to guess how far 10 yards is. But then obviously the football pitch would then start look like a hockey pitch, and nobody wants that. So, but yeah, it was a good shout nonetheless. Okay, Thomas Daines, Jamie says, I'm convinced that most elite footballers forget that you can't be offside from the throw-in. There is so much scope for a nippy forward to run behind the defence as soon as their team wins a quick throw. This is an unexploited part of football, surely.
Yes. I agree. It used to be a centre forward. Used to work on throw-ins, getting it in. But I mean, yeah, it is like that. There are a lot of footballers who don't know.
Actually, will there be players who wouldn't know?
Certainly, as much. I'm sure. I think there's 99% of them who know about the throw-in. Surely they have to. But in terms of actually knowing football or what we're even talking about here, I think a lot of the footballers are there. They're not that into football, to be honest.
They're not following IFAB on Twitter for the latest PDF of the laws of the game, let's face it.
Yeah, but I mean, when we're commentating, I mean, I'd like to think I know most of the rules, but there's always some grey areas on certain things, and you're not confident enough to go with it on commentary, and you're keen down to the director. Do you know what's going on here? Am I all right to go with this? Or should I just leave it? Just
fudge it. Also,
let Martin
sort it out. Yeah, he'll take the flak. Yeah.
Also, any referee worth his salt will be telling you it's laws, not rules. That's the thing I've been told many times.
And then the football manager will go, they know the laws, but they don't know the game.
Yeah, definitely.
That one. That's a Neil Warnock one. That I can imagine Neil Warnock saying that.
Charlie, this next one is for you. This is from Creepy Pasta Goblin, as always. He says, players attempting to hold the referee's hand down when raising a yellow card. As if that's going to do anything. I only address this one to you because it feels like something that Jamie might have done in his career.
Yeah, that's possibly something I've done. The other one I like is when all the players are going around the referee and the captain's telling all his own players, go away, speak to him. I'm the only one who can speak. Go away. Like he's got the real information. He's going to get to the nut of the nut and bolts of it. He's going to make him change that red card when his man's walking off the pitch. You know what I mean? No one else can speak to him. I'm just going to speak to him. No one else is allowed. That sort of seniority. Don't you get in trouble? I'll get in trouble. Don't worry about it. I'll speak to the referee. I'll get the yellow card.
Literally physical way that they make sure that all the other teammates are moved away, like you're funneling children on a school trip or something.
Yeah.
Anything performative is the things that really get you going. Is that right? It's those showy.
Yeah, is that the theme of my pod?
I don't like showiness.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
No, I'm not. No, I don't like that. I can see right through. I can see through phonies.
Well, interestingly enough, this is the final listed contribution, and I have to say this blew my tiny mind. I don't know what it's going to do to your minds. Maybe they'll remain intact. Let's find out. Dom says vapor rub, used most notably by Patrick Vieira, who used to absolutely cover his shirts in the stuff pre-match. You never see it used anymore, so clearly its effectiveness was questionable. Okay, so I've heard this quite a lot about how, you don't see it very much anymore. Perhaps it aided their breathing or something like that. And then this took a massive twist. Borky replied on Twitter saying, interesting story about this. It wasn't vapor rub. It was an adhesive gel which helped Vieira control the ball with his chest. But the club were happy for people to think it was vapor rub. Somebody tell me this is complete bollocks.
I'm going for vapor. No, I'm going for vapor. I think I used to see Roy Evans use that. Not on the chest. They used to have a few little things up the nose before he went out as the manager.
Why as a manager? What, in case they got tense?
I don't know, just to help the breathing. Whether the breathing started going all right when we were 2-0 down or whatever it may be, I don't know. And Robbie
I ran the data on that, and his goal scoring record without the nose strip was far inferior. So there it is. I mean, maybe a few injuries had something to do with it.